Welcome to Joint Attention Jamfest. I'm your host, Rose Griffin of ABA Speech, and tonight we're talking all about the pout fish. And we're also talking about wheels on the bus. And we're also talking about one of my favorite games to modify. So welcome. I have been coming live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern to talk all about joint attention. And so joint attention is super important. Welcome, everyone. Say hi to me. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm here in Ohio. It was actually thunderstorming out there a second ago, so which is weird for winter weather. So welcome. I've been talking about joint attention, and I want to give you actionable tips and strategies. Oh yeah, wheels on the bus. You know what I'm saying. I want to give you actionable tips and strategies that you can use in your next therapy session. So I've been coming on live every single week at 8 p.m. Eastern for this Joint Attention Jamfest. I like a theme, you know, the alliteration. So the first week we talked about joint attention. We know it's super important. Hey, Nara from Denver. We know it's super, super important to incorporate work on joint. Hi, Lori from Colorado. We know it's important to work on joint attention with our young learners and really any student who's not yet speaking. So my wish is that there is a world where all autistic learners have a voice. And that's why I come on here and make funny TikToks and do CEU courses and connect with all of you. So if you joined us on Tuesday, let me know. I did this big, huge course. There were about 1,100 people that were registered. It was really neat, all about joint attention. And if you missed it, that's okay. We're going to do a little bit of a snippet here. So I like to talk about joint attention and how I can work on that by using books, music, and play. So joint attention, our working definition is that it's a shared activity. Yes, everyone does deserve a voice. I love that. It's a shared activity. So whether you're listening as a parent, as a teacher, as a speech therapist, as a BCBA, we are working on this together. And so the idea is that we're doing an activity together, and the student knows that, and we know that. And now we just need to know, well, how are we going to do this? Especially if I have a student who's having a hard time engaging. Well, don't fret. I'm here to give you some ideas. So today, the book that I want to share with you, last week we talked about using the mitten, and we talked about using Snowy Day. Those are fun books. Even if you're living in California, which I know some of you are, it's still fun to talk about snow because you never know. Maybe your kids will experience it one day, and if not, it seems kind of like this magical thing. Today, the book that I want to talk about is the Pout fish. Let me know in the comments, and I'm going live everywhere, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. Let me know in the comments, do you like the Pout fish? Have you ever used this book? I actually had this book kind of laying around, hadn't really used it in a while. And I had one of my speech mentors from this business mastermind said, I love using the Pout fish because I like to use all the different voices. And he doesn't use it for work. He just has a kid of his own. So it kind of reminded me that I had this book, and I've been using it for therapy, and I just love it. I'm not going to go all in and read the whole book to you, but why I love this book is that it does have this repetitive line. So it's a super cute story, the Pout fish, if you're just joining us for Joint Attention Jamfest. The Pout fish is just very glum, and he's had a bad day. It's like he lives in Ohio in January, and you don't see the sun, and I feel you, Pout fish. So he's just having a super bad day, and he's just like, I don't know, I'm just like sad all the time. And it has this repetitive line where it goes blub, 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 which is very cute. So the Pout fish talks to all of his friends, Mr. Clam, and he's just like, I don't know why I'm so sad all the time. And then he talks to a jellyfish. Love that. And so you can see this repetitive line. He's just like, I'm sad. I don't know why. So if you're joining us, I'm talking about joint attention, and this is the book I'm sharing right now. Pout fish. He sees the squid, Mr. Squid. Then we have our repetitive line, blub, blub, blub. I always say too, when you're using a book, use your own voice. The kids want to engage with you. You may think, oh, this kid is really hard to engage with. That's okay. We have to start here. Start with something fun. We want to make it encouraging. We don't want to say, time for work. We're reading now. We don't want to say that. We want to say something like, oh, we're going to do a book. We're going to read the Pout Fish. And I always say, use your level of energy. If you think the way that I act is ridiculous, it probably is because I have an online business. So I'm making videos every day and I'm being excited, but this is really how I am in real life. So if you think that's kind of kooky, then you just use your own level of excited, which might sound just like this, which is totally fine. Octopus, he meets the octopus. He's still super, super sad. We have our blub, blub, blub. And what's fun is you can use character voices. I mean, who doesn't like that? Then this silverfish comes in, and this silverfish gives him a smooch. And then he realizes, if you're joining us, we're going Pout Fish tonight. He realizes he's not sad anymore. He's happy. He's a kiss fish. And then he gives everybody a smooch. He gives all of his friends a smooch. And at the end, okay, he gives that kiss, but he ends up happy. It's a nice kid's book. So if you have this one in your therapy room, or it came through on your kid's Scholastic book and you're like, I've heard of that. I haven't used it in therapy. It is nice. The one thing, it is not a board book. So that's kind of a little bit of a bummer because I do like to use board books. They tend to be more durable, which is good. Thank you for that. I like to use board books because they tend to be more durable. But if you're thinking, I've used this today with a preschool age student, but I've also used it with school age students because it does have more words on it. It does have more words. And we talked about it. This is kind of a repetitive book. So you might want to stay to the story on this one, but it's a really, really nice book. So preschool age student, school age student, because it does have a little bit more verbiage on there. Very, very fun book. The Pout Fish, we have that repetitive line. So when we're working on joint attention, we're thinking about it with a three-pronged approach. How can I use books? How can I use music? And how can I use play in my sessions? And so today, Pout Fish. Give it a thought if you haven't used it before. Okay, the song that I want to go over is Wheels on the Bus. I love Wheels on the Bus. Now, I have a similar product in my TPT store, which is called ABA Speech. So if you go to TPT, just search ABA Speech. I have a spiffy version of this that is more updated. It comes in color and black and white. But I like to use Wheels on the Bus. Now, you don't have to use a visual like this, but what I have found, if you're working with younger students, they do like Velcro. So they do like Velcro. They like to manipulate things. They like little pieces. That's what I have found. Another reason I like Wheels on the Bus is that there's motions. So when you're working on joint attention, chances are that your student may also benefit from work on foundational skills. And so one of those foundational skills is imitation as well. So if I have a student who's not yet speaking, that's the type of learner I've been talking about a lot lately, then we want to work on joint attention. But what's really cool about Wheels on the Bus, even if you don't have this thing, let's say you don't have that, and that's fine, you can use motions. Now, don't mute me, please. I'm not going to sing the whole song, but I'm going to give you an example. So the wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round all through the town. What's so great about Wheels on the Bus is that it has motions. So if you have a student who's not yet speaking, who doesn't care about your visuals, even though these are super cool, you should grab them from my TPT store. If you don't have access to that, you've got yourself and you got your motions. And what can be really cool about Wheels on the Bus is I had a student, I went to his house, I was working with him in-home around here in my hometown, and he would sit with me for like 15 seconds and then he was off. And the first time we did Wheels on the Bus, he's autistic, he was 3, he wasn't really speaking. Seems to be my kid's favorite, the baby. So if you don't know these words too, make sure you just look them up on Google or YouTube. The baby on the bus goes, wah, wah, wah. And Kids think that is so funny. If you don't believe me, try it in therapy tomorrow or try it with your own kids at bedtime tonight. Okay? The baby on the bus goes wah, wah, wah. So anyway, my learner who wasn't speaking, really not a lot, he came back over. He heard me do that baby sound and he did it too. And me and his mom were like, yeah, that's amazing. He came back. He gazed at me. It was joint attention. We were embedding work on something fun. Keep it fun and functional, I always say. And what was nice about this is he couldn't say baby at that time. He wasn't talking, but he was able to do the motions. So we were engaged in this social activity together, which was so cool. And then we also worked on imitation. So somebody that attended my Joint Attention Accelerator, which was a bigger course this past Tuesday, said, I've never thought about working on joint attention, but also embedding work on imitation at the same time. Because sometimes we don't do imitation that way. And I would urge you to try to keep things play-based and fun for our little learners. Okay, so if you're just joining us for Joint Attention Jamfest, we talked all about the Pout fish. And we talked about how fun this book is. If you haven't given it a thought, you should. It's a great one. And then we talked about our song for this week. So our song for this week is Wheels on the Bus. Love Wheels on the Bus because it has motions. And if our students are not yet speaking, we can do the motions and model them for our students. So we're getting work on joint attention and we're also getting work on imitation, which is super, super fun. Okay. Now, so when I talk about joint attention, we talk about using books, we talk about using music, and we talk about using play. So the play activity that I want to share with you today is Uno. Uno is a great game. You might be listening to me, and maybe you have a 3-year-old child of your own at home, and you're thinking to yourself, Uno? My kid cannot play Uno. I've had other people say, oh, well, I think that would be really hard for the student. But the way that I play it is we modify Uno. So Uno is a very popular game. I bet even if you're not playing it with your students, you may have it in your playroom at home. You may have it in your office and you don't even know about it. So let me know if tomorrow you go to your office and you find Uno and I've helped you plan your lesson for a Friday. This is very fun. So a lot of the activities that I share with you for play, I like to modify. I like to modify because usually the way that they're played can be hard for students that I'm working with. And I like to embed supports because it's not about my turn, your turn. I never work on that. So that's a whole other episode of this. But it's just about doing this activity together. I want to do an activity so we're engaged together, we're having fun together, there's social reciprocity and engagement. And also what's amazing about this is you can share this with other team members, you can share this with parents and generalize the skills. Because I'll tell you what, the most important piece is generalization. If a kid can do something with me as the speech therapist or the BCBA, it's not powerful if they can't do it outside the room. Okay, so the game I want to share today is Modified Uno. I have a YouTube channel called ABA Speech. And on that YouTube channel, I have a video model, which is just a video of how to play Modified Uno. Why I created this video is I was working in a clinic for students with autism. And I was working with lots of different students and lots of different registered behavioral technicians. And so I got sick of like making the same video over and over. So I said, I'm just going to make a YouTube channel. So 5 years ago, I made a YouTube channel. So check it out, ABA Speech on YouTube. But if you just look up Modified Uno, it comes right up. And the way that we modify Uno is we take out all the skip, all the reverse, all the wild, the draw two, and we're just matching colors. So I put down a red card and a blue card and a yellow card and a green card. And then I pick from the pile and I match the color. And then the student picks from the pile and they match the color. If picking from the pile is hard for your student, I hand my student one card. That is a great modification. If you know a student cannot handle a pile of cards, and that's too much, hand them one card. That's great. You can do this in an individual session if you have that luxury of seeing a kid one-on-one, Or you can also do this in a small group. So the past 10 years, past 20 years, I worked in the schools before I left in May to focus on ABA speech. And I would do this in individual sessions, and I would also do it in a small group. So if you need something fun and functional to do with your students tomorrow on a fun Friday, look up Modified Uno. And the way that I would do it with my students is I would show them the video from my YouTube. And that is, in essence, a video model, which there's a lot of research behind video modeling. I watch something, I do something. I mean, I do that on YouTube all the time. Like, how do I do that thing? How do I fix that thing in my house? Okay, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to do it. So watch Modified Uno and then play it with your students. And let me know. Message me here on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you're tuning in from. And let me know, is that impactful for your students? Why Modified Uno is so amazing is that you're working on joint attention because it's a shared activity and we're doing it together, but you're also working on matching, which is another foundational skill. So I talk about these foundational skills at length in my 5-hour ASHA approved and ACE approved course, Start Communicating Today. So if you want to learn more about that, join me in the course. It's very, very fun. Okay, so today we talked about using books, music, and play. Let's recap. We talked about using the Pout Pout fish. Blub, blub, blub. We talked about using, oh yeah, wheels on the bus. Super, super fun. And then we talked about using Modified Uno. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope that these are actionable tips and strategies that you can use with your clients or you can use with your own child at home. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll stay on here for a minute. If you want to learn more, if you're a professional, we're doing a more advanced training about naturalistic developmental behavioral interventions. Oh my gosh, it's hard for me to remember that. Basically, it's learning through play. This is an ASHA course and an ACE course that's coming to you Tuesday, the 24th, 8 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. It is free to register. So completely free to register. If you're a parent and you want to register, totally fine too. You can register at the link in my profile. It's Learning Through Play is the title of the course. And it will be 1 hour. And then if you join us, you get a general certificate for free. Or if you want to pay for the ASHA or ACEU, it'll be $15 each. So this past week, we did one on joint attention. We had 1,100 people registered. It was the highlight of my week. Let me tell you, it was the highlight of my week. And so January 24th, the presenter is actually not me, but I'll be there learning along with you. It's not boring PD. It is fun where you can learn. I don't want you to learn alone, so come hang out with us. It's Dr. Ariana Boutain from KGH, and she was actually on my podcast, Autism Outreach. She's super sweet, great information, love that. So hopefully that you can join us. So if you have any questions, let me know. I can't wait to hear how you're going to use the Pout Pout fish, wheels on the bus, and Modified Uno in your sessions. And stay tuned next week. Am I coming to you next week? Let's see. Yes, next week I will be here on Thursday for Joint Attention Jamfest. Let me know if you think this is helpful information. I like being able to share it with you. I wish we were just all hanging out. You know, we have a lot of us on here live today. But I will see you next week. And I hope that you can join us on Tuesday, the 24th, to talk about learning through play. You can register for that course at the link in my profile and hit me up in my messages. I am here to support you. Remember to keep things fun and functional, and I'll see you next time. Bye.